What's up, everyone? This is Dr. Webb here. Today I wanted to talk about some things that you can do as a pre-med major to set yourself apart from everyone else. I've gotten a lot of emails, messages from pre-med students. I post a lot of information about medical students and things that they can do on the wards to do well on their step 1 exam, but I haven't put out too much for pre-med students. So all of you pre-med students out there, this video is for you guys. I think as a pre-med student, first of all, you have to figure out if medicine is something that you really want to do. It's a long, very long road. I started off in college at a community college in 2002, I believe. This is 2017. I'm still in my training. To become a surgeon, it takes about 15 years. 4 years of college, 4 years of medical school, 5 years of surgery training, and most people do additional year of fellowship training to kind of specialize. So it's a long road, so you have to figure out that it's something that you really want to do. And a way to do this is to shadow a doctor or volunteer in the hospital. And if you volunteer, that's an easy way to get inside the hospital. And then once you get inside the hospital, get inside the doors, just go up and introduce yourself to a couple of doctors. You see a doctor walking down the hallway, or they may see one of your patients. Say, hey, I'm a pre-med student. I would love to shadow you. That's a way to get in. If you can't do that, I would email some physicians in your local area and say, hey, I'm a pre-med student. I'm looking to go into medicine. I was wondering if I can come hang out with you for a couple hours here and there. But you must email 6 or 7 doctors, because 90% of the time, majority of them are going to be too busy to get back with you, or have a lot of things going on. So you have to be persistent, and I would say email 7 to 8 doctors, and hopefully one should get back with you, 1 or 2. Next, I would say do well in your undergraduate classes. A misconception is that you have to major in biology or chemistry. I think that is a big misconception, because most medical schools, I sat on the admissions committee my last year of medical school, most medical schools like students with non-biology, non-chemistry degrees. So if you have a music degree, that's totally fine. Humanities, philosophy, those degrees will kind of set you apart from everyone else who has the traditional biology, chemistry degree. But as long as you just take the pre-meds for med school. So major in whatever it is that you enjoy doing. Maybe it's nursing. That way you can have something to fall back on and work while you're applying to medical school, and then just take the prereqs. Next, I think it's important to do well in your classes. You have to start off strong early on. It's hard to change your GPA once you're already a junior and senior. So, but that's a given. If you're applying to medical school, you should have decent grades. Volunteer. That's really helpful on your application. I wouldn't volunteer just to do it. I would volunteer something you're passionate about, because they're going to ask you that in your interview, and you want to sound passionate about it when they ask you about it. So research is helpful. It's not mandatory. Some schools require a research project, others don't. Just look into the schools that you're applying to. If they require research, try to get involved with some research. But when I applied to medical school, I didn't have any research. When I applied to residency, I didn't have much at all either. People think that in order to go into orthopedic surgery, you need lots of research, you need publications. I didn't get my publications until while I was in residency. So don't believe that everybody's telling you. Other things that you can do, I would say work on your personal statement. It's never too early to work on that. The reason why you want to become a doctor is not going to change much over the years, so go ahead and try to knock out your personal statement while you can, and just work on it slowly. So by the time that it comes down to applying, you have already had at least a rough draft for it. I would say apply broadly when you apply to medical schools. If living in a certain area is not really restrictive to you, you need to apply broadly. I wouldn't waste a whole application cycle only apply to 10 schools. You need to apply broadly. And that's the same thing I did for residency. I applied to 80 residency programs. And out of those 80 programs, I think I got about 15 interviews. So apply broadly, but consider tuition also. Where I went to medical school at Georgetown, $80,000 a year. So I came out of medical school with quite a bit of debt. But as an orthopedic surgeon, once I get done, I'll be making $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 a year. So that tuition won't matter as much then. But if you're going into pediatrics or internal medicine, some of the lower paid specialties, then you have to consider tuition of your medical school. If you can go to a state school for $15,000 versus going to a private school, I would take that state school. Those are the things that I think are important, that can set you apart. If you have any real world experience, such as you were in nursing before, firefighter, you were a teacher, Teach for America, if you traveled abroad, they like those things on your admissions committee. The admissions committee likes those things. So those are the things that are going to set you apart. I say if you really want to be a doctor, I say go for it. It took me 3 times of applying before I actually got accepted. And each time I had to go back to the drawing board. I emailed every school that I applied to and said, hey, can you review my application and let me know what can I do to improve on my application? And that's exactly what I did. And most of them told me my MCAT score or my GPA. So I actually did a post-bac program where it focused on my GPA and also some of my sciences classes. So if you don't get in the first time, don't let that be a deterrent to you. Most people in medicine, you're going to be in your medical field for 50, 60 years. I have 3 orthopedic surgeons that I work with, and they're all about 80 years old. So they've been practicing medicine longer than I've been born. So even if you start off medical school 5 years later than your friend or your colleague, that's not going to matter whatsoever, because you'll be doing medicine for 40, 50 years. I wouldn't get too beat yourself up if your classmates or your friend is going off to medical school right away, and you don't start till 3 or 4 years down the line. I mean, that's okay. Everything happens for a reason. Just keep applying. Never give up. Those are my tips for you guys. If you have any more questions, email me at overcomingtheoddsbook@gmail.com or hit me up on my website, AntonioWebbMD.com. Until next time.